Can the Prime Minister guarantee that he will not sell out Britain's fantastic farmers to Donald Trump in a trade deal that undermines our high food and animal welfare standards in the way that the Conservatives sold them out in the Australia and New Zealand deal?
Something happened in Parliament which will haunt Starmer forever. Keir Starmer didn't just get challenged, he got cornered, exposed, and by the end of it, politically stripped to the bone. But here's the twist. It wasn't just one attack. It came from all sides, left, right, and centre. One by one, MPs stood up and hit him where it hurt most. And yet, Starmer stood there, delivering scripted lines while the House burned behind him. Everyone was laughing at him, making him extremely embarrassed. So what was said that left him speechless, and what wasn't said that might haunt him for months to come? In this video, let's find out. Keir Starmer entered Parliament trying to wear two hats: the high-minded global statesman and the domestic reformer. The result? He wore neither convincingly and got burned for both. Ed Davey opened the attack with a question that any serious leader would treat with urgency. Why is the Social Care Commission, meant to fix one of Britain's most broken systems, moving at a glacial pace, while its chair, Baroness Casey, has time to moonlight on another national scandal about grooming gangs?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I echo the Prime Minister's opening remarks about the Southport killings and Holocaust Memorial Day? Can I particularly join him in expressing our immense relief at the release of Emily Damari and celebrate the fact she's back with her mum, Mandy, and the rest of her family. Let's hope we can get all the hostages released as soon as possible and the ceasefire turns into a lasting peace. Mr. Speaker, last week I urged the Prime Minister to speed up the Social Care Commission so we can get the changes people need implemented this year. The very next day, it was announced the chair of the Social Care Commission was also going to chair another important inquiry into grooming gangs. So the Prime Minister says that the job of chairing the Social Care Commission is so enormous that it's not possible to complete it within 3 years. Yet he also says that the chair of that commission, Baroness Casey, has got enough free time over the next few months to chair another inquiry. Very good point. Can the Prime Minister explain how both these things...
Starmer's answer was purely ambiguous. He claimed both roles were manageable and don't interfere with each other.
Mr. Speaker, Baroness Casey is well placed to conduct the audit into grooming gangs, given her hard-hitting report on exploitation in Rotherham. It does not, he raises the issue, it does not affect her work on the Independent Commission on Adult Social Care, which begins in April. But as he knows, that report, the first part of that report, will report next year, so we can deliver recommendations as we receive them. And he knows that already we're introducing fair pay agreements, providing more money for the social care funding, and putting up the allowance. So we're already taking steps. There'll be a two-part report. We will act on the recommendations as they arrive. But this...
Let's be real. You don't casually multitask the national care crisis and a grooming scandal. These are monumental responsibilities requiring full attention. And yet, Starmer treated them like interchangeable Zoom calls. Either he is lying about how serious social care reform is, or he is outsourcing it like a man ticking boxes on a bureaucratic spreadsheet. Therefore, Ed Davey insisted again that Starmer is not making social care reforms a priority.
Ed Davey.
I still don't think the Prime Minister is making social care reform the priority that it needs. It's urgent. And so I'm going to keep coming back.
Ed Davey didn't stop there. He moved in for the target. He asked whether Starmer would guarantee not to throw British farmers under the Trump train in any future trade deal.
But Mr. Speaker, turning now to the United States, can the Prime Minister guarantee that he will not sell out Britain's fantastic farmers to Donald Trump in a trade deal that undermines our high food and animal welfare standards in the way that the Conservatives sold them out in the Australia and New Zealand deal?
Given how Australia and New Zealand were handled, where British farmers were sold out for cheap meat and even cheaper photo ops, it was a serious question. And yet, Starmer responded with the most robotic line in his manual: "We will never lower our standards."
Mr. Speaker, we will work with the US, we will work with other countries, but we will never...
That's the same vague mantra we heard right before our agricultural sector was kneecapped by imported meat, lax welfare controls, and unfair pricing standards under previous trade deals. If you can't say, yes, I will protect our farmers, you are already halfway down the betrayal path. Starmer clearly thinks he can walk the middle line, appeasing Trump's trade demands, while gaslighting the countryside with green-sounding platitudes. But British farmers have seen this movie before, and this time they know how it ends.
We're angry because we can't carry on farming anymore. It's also demoralising. You don't farm for the profits, you farm for your kids. No one owns a farm, you look after it to the next generation. When you're going to lose 20% of all you've ever worked for, your ancestors have worked for, people are very angry. So it means that a farm every 20, 35 years or whatever, when generations change and it gets a new manager or a new person in charge, it's just going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. 2 or 3 generations, it's gone.
Fight the tax, save our farms. No farmers, no food. No farmers, no food. No future. The atmosphere is very almost convivial. It's warming up a little, I'm pleased to say, and I'm joined now by Mo from the Countryside Alliance. Why are you guys here today?
Well, we've got to stand up to the Treasury over this awful, hideous tax. People here today have come from all across the country. The numbers are growing. The weather is pretty frightful, but these are the conditions that farmers work in on a daily basis to put food on our tables and keep the countryside the beautiful place that everybody knows and loves. It's so important that we stand against this tax. The Treasury's numbers, very dubious. They're not stacking up with DEFRA's or the National Farmers Unions, people that know what they're talking about. Rachel Reeves needs to rethink this tax, and I hope that they're listening to people here today.
When the tariffs land and British beef gets buried under American red tape and chlorinated chicken, Starmer will be the first to tweet about pragmatism in global trade. Meanwhile, rural Britain will be out of pocket and out of patience. MPs then circled around the issue that Starmer can't run from, the NHS disaster. From Watford to St Helier, hospital projects promised under Labour are now stalled, rotting, or flat-out fictional. One MP stood up and delivered the line that should haunt Starmer for the rest of his term: people will die and NHS staff will break.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Recently, the Prime Minister visited Epsom Hospital, where he committed to not just paper over the cracks in the NHS after years of Conservative lies. Yet on Monday, his government confirmed that our St Helier Hospital will develop these wounds and the hospital will crumble. Mr. Speaker, St Helier Hospital will not survive the delay this has introduced. People will die and NHS staff will break. So I ask the Prime Minister, will he apologise to my constituents as they wait years for a new hospital building? And will he visit the hospital with me to witness firsthand the dire situation our residents...
Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel for more exclusive videos on the groundbreaking changes happening in British politics. Let's continue now. It has been revealed that half of the new hospitals promised by Labour are now being delayed. And what did Starmer do? Reach for the most tired excuse in politics. It's the previous government's fault.
Well, Mr. Speaker, he's right to raise the concerns of his constituents, and I'm not surprised that they're frustrated or even angry at the lack of delivery under the previous government. There was no credible plan. Mr. Speaker, they shut. Let me read the Infrastructure and Projects Authority's verdict on what we inherited. This is their words. There are major issues...
Prime Minister. Mr. Phil. I expect better from the front bench. And I'm sure you're going to show better, Prime Minister.
I think he was Liz Truss's right-hand man, so we wouldn't expect anything else. The verdict on the plan that he is talking about was this: major issues, this is their record, they should be chuckling, major issues on the definition, the schedule, the budget, the quality and the delivery. It was a fiction, always was.
But this time, it didn't land. Because Labour ran on fixing hospitals. Starmer looked voters in the eye and swore he would deliver. Now, 9 months later, the hospitals are still crumbling, and the only thing under construction is a long list of excuses. And then came the Heathrow moment, the hypocrisy so thick it could be paved over the third runway itself.
Expanding London's airports and building a third runway at Heathrow would be incredibly irresponsible in the midst of a climate emergency, flying in the face of the Climate Change Committee's advice. The Prime Minister clearly knows this because he and 7 Cabinet colleagues voted against a third runway at Heathrow in 2018. So can the Prime Minister confirm what is his position now?
In 2018, Keir Starmer and 7 of his senior cabinet colleagues voted against the Heathrow expansion on climate grounds. They made a whole show of it, saving the planet, protecting future generations, reducing carbon. Flash forward to 2025. And what does he say now when asked if he still opposes it?
Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to comment on speculation. He knows that we are, as a government, we are committed to growth, we're committed to the aviation sector and to our climate obligations. But I'm not going to take lectures from those who talk about climate change but oppose vital renewable infrastructure in their own constituency.
Speculation? This is national infrastructure policy, not tabloid gossip. You don't get to claim climate leadership while hiding your position on the most polluting expansion plan in the country. Either you are for the third runway or you are against it. But Starmer wants both. He wants the international investment that comes with Heathrow expansion, but he also wants the green halo in COP28 photo ops. So, what does he do? He dodges, deflects, hopes no one notices. When the questions turned to the economy, Starmer took the stage like a man who thought he was delivering a TED Talk.
When it comes to his budget, which raised taxes, raised borrowing and raised public spending as a strategy for economic growth, when is the Prime Minister going to accept the words of the Labour Prime Minister in the 1970s, who explained to a Labour conference that in all candour that option no longer exists, and that the only way to obtain sustained economic growth will be by cutting taxes and cutting regulations?
In answer, Starmer name-dropped the IMF, the OBR, and anyone who had said something nice about Britain in the last 3 months.
He must have missed recent reports. The ONS has just said that we've got the highest investment for 19 years. The PwC have just said that this is the second best place to invest in the world. The IMF have just upgraded growth, now saying we're predicted to be the fastest growing major European economy. Wages are up and inflation is down. That's after just...
But the facts didn't care about his curated list of praise. Mortgages are up. Borrowing is exploding. Retail sales are falling off a cliff. And still, Starmer thinks this is a recovery.
Mr. Speaker, he knows why we're having an emergency budget, because since the last one, since the Chancellor delivered her budget in October, growth is down, borrowing is up, and she has destroyed business confidence. Does the Prime Minister now regret raising taxes on...
2-year mortgages have hit 5%. Borrowing is billions above forecast. Retail sales have slumped. Does the Prime Minister still believe the Chancellor is doing a good job?
I thought she was just reading out their last record.
Then came the environmental betrayal. This time, not in airports, but in actual drowning towns. MPs spoke of homes on the verge of collapsing into rivers, families displaced, businesses destroyed, and still, Starmer had no sense of emergency.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. From Stafford to Eccleshall to Loggerheads, my constituents are sick and tired of having their properties and businesses devastated by flooding. The last Conservative government did not invest enough in flood prevention measures to stop this from happening. Can the Prime Minister assure me and my constituents that he will prioritise flood prevention investment before the homes and businesses on Sandon Road in Stafford disappear completely?
He reached for the same dusty book of excuses. We inherited the worst flood defences in history. Fine. But Starmer has had almost a year now. What has he done? He threw out a number, £2.4 million in investment, like it was a winning lottery ticket. But there were no details, no plans, no urgency. Just another soggy promise in the rainstorm of government failure.
Prime Minister.
Well, my sympathies go to her constituents. Far too many are experiencing terrible flooding. I visited there last year and met them, and they talked me through the misery of their experience. We inherited flood defences in their worst condition on record. We are now investing £2.4 million in flood defences to better protect communities, and committed £60 million to support farmers impacted by the extreme.
And the message was loud and clear. Unless your house is near a swing seat, don't expect help. Another MP pointed towards Starmer's two-tier education policy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Across England, there are 95,000 students who attend non-academised sixth form colleges. Of those colleges, 32 are currently on strike because the government didn't settle the funding for them back in last summer. I wonder, could the Prime Minister tell me whether he intended to create a two-tier education system for sixth form students who are the victims of the COVID crisis?
Prime Minister.
We have put more money into colleges, and it's really for them to deal with these disputes, as she knows.
As strikes paralysed sixth form colleges, with 32 institutions walking out, Starmer couldn't even muster a proper response. He passed the buck like it was hot coal, blaming the colleges themselves for underfunding and disruption. But that's not how national leadership works. You don't wash your hands of an education crisis while promising to be the party of opportunity. You either fund the system or admit you have abandoned it. And this isn't just a pay dispute, it's a class divide. A two-tier education system where academy students get the resources and everyone else gets scraps. The government talks about levelling up, but Starmer's just levelling down expectations. The silence from his office was telling. No emergency talks, no new funding, just deflection and delay. What do you think? Is Starmer the right man to lead the UK? Isn't it true that Keir Starmer is prioritising his party over the country, the opposite of what he says? In the comments section right below, share your thoughts on whether Starmer should always be grilled and crushed by MPs so he knows he has to think about the British people. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to get more updates on British politics and how events are changing it. Until the next video, stay tuned.